To buy a new Sinn that's not in stock, you are talking a 6 months wait. But let me tell you my 1-year owner's review of the U50 and the comparison between this and the U1. Let's get into it. Yes! Welcome to the Mad Watch Collector channel. Today I'm going to do a 1-year ownership of the beautiful U50. Look at it. Tell you the things I love and the things I don't love and whether or not you should buy one of these bad boys. But also thanks to Francis & GAYE Jewelers, plug, they've sent me a U1 so I can do a great comparison between the two. Now that I've had both in my hands, which do I prefer? And more importantly, wait till the end of the show because you'll get to see my wife's first impressions of the U1. Hugely insightful and you're gonna love it. Super! As I said in the intro, Francis & GAYE, who are an authorised dealer of Sinn, have been told by Sinn if you want to order any more watches from us, there's gonna be a 6 months wait. Now either Sinn are masterfully manipulating the watch market like another brand that we know, or they just don't have enough watchmakers to make the goddamn watches. It shows me and you that even in these troubled and unsteady economic times, people still can't get enough of a Sinn. And if you're an owner of one or have handled one in the past, it's not a surprise why they're so popular. Anyway, at the end of August last year, I purchased the U50. It's a watch I had been lusting after for at least a year, and now I'd been very fortunate to be able to buy one. Now, usually my tastes are a little bit more vintagey.
That's a word?
I like to look at a watch and see inspirations from the 60s and 50s. So looking at a U50, even I was surprised I liked the look of it. But it wasn't just the look that made me lust after this thing. Listen to these specs. 41mm case, just over 11mm thick. And this is a watch that has been tested at 50 Atmos. That's 500 meters of water resistance. Just under 48 lug to lug and a strapaholic 20mm lug width. The dimensions are perfect for my 6.5 inch wrist, and in actual fact on my wrist the watch even looks that little bit smaller. The way of the case shape, the small lugs. It was a watch I knew I was going to love the minute I had it in the hands. Like no other watch I have in my collection, the U50 is made of German U-boat steel, so metal that was made to go in the sea and underwater.
Bead blasted and then tegemented,
which is Sinn's proprietary hardening coating, which makes this already tough steel 5 times tougher, so basically scratch proof. But as you can see, after a year's wearing this thing, it still looks brand new. So I opted for the rubber strap with the tegemented clasp that you had to cut to size, but I've got to say it was very, very comfortable. But it wasn't long before I changed the strap over, and what better strap to pair it with than an Artem sailcloth strap. I mean, with the grey stitching that goes with the bead blasted tegemented steel, to me the watch and the straps were made for each other. Now when I got this watch, the one thing I wasn't quite prepared for was how good the anti-reflectiveness was on the dial. There's coating on the outside and the inside of the sapphire glass, coupled with the fact that the dial is matte black and non-glossy, gives the effect that there's no glass at all there, and you feel like you could actually touch the handset. So a couple of months had rolled by and I'd wear it off and on. It's over £2,000, so I didn't want to wear it at work as a tennis coach. So it became a weekend watch, and then it was competing with my favourite diver of all time, the Black Bay 58.
And I'm not the sort of person that does a double wrister.
If I don't layer some memories on a watch, the watch tends to go quite quick. So there was a point when I was thinking about possibly selling it. What, are you mad? I know, I'm sorry. The one downfall with this modern, over-engineered, tooly look is that although it can be paired up with any strap, it's not going to be fitting for, say, a dinner date or smart casual wear. It's a jeans and a t-shirt watch.
It's not a sports jacket and a roll neck type of watch.
That's why I wore the Black Bay 58 more often. Anyway, after a few days pondering and a quick slap in the face, I said to myself, Russell, who cares if it doesn't go with a tie? Wear the damn watch
and enjoy the bugger.
So that's what I I did. I wore it everywhere. I did everything. I wore it at work. I wore it out to dinner. I wore it to the movies. I took it with me in my 3-watch holiday collection. Took it underwater where it was most happiest. And now it's become my top 3 watches I've worn since the beginning of this year. You don't see many people wearing Sinn watches, but I've become very, very proud of owning this watch and definitely will not be selling it.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the point of the show where we introduce the big boy, the daddy to the littly, or the son or the daughter, whatever. The U1. Biff! This bad boy first came out in 2005, 17 years ago, and up until the U50 release was the most popular dive watch Sinn sold. Now obviously the most noticeable differences between these two watches are the sizes. The U1 is 44mm in diameter, 14.5 thick, 50 lug to lug, with a 22mm lug width, 3mm bigger in diameter, almost 4mm thicker, 2mm longer from lug to lug, and a 2mm wider lug width. Now, whereas the U50 is a 500m water resistant watch, the U1 is a 1000m water resistant watch. Which is completely over engineered, let's be honest. Most of us will probably not go under 5 meters, so 1000 meters, that's just taking the piss, isn't it? Also, it has to be said that the head of the U1 is 40 grams heavier than the U50. This U1 is fully tegemented, just like the U50, and I managed to check out the bracelet this time. I gotta say, I really like the articulation of these H-links. Solid end links and links. They are held together using 2 hexagonal screw heads. Very fiddly to size, but once you do size, those screws are not gonna come undone. Then we come to the clasp, but let's be fair, when you've got over-engineered links and an over-engineered case, under-engineered clasp really stands out like a sore thumb. There's a fold-over security, but the clasp is just push and pull. Milled inside, we do have a diver's extension, but only 3 micro adjusts. Anyway, back to these watches, and a big difference to these watches are the movements. The U1 has a Sellita SW200-1 inside, 28,800 beats per hour and 38 hours of power reserve. The U50 has a Sellita SW300-1 inside, 28,800 beats per hour, but 4 hours more power reserve and a millimeter slimmer, which is a big reason why the U50 can be so slim. The dials are exactly the same, sapphire, anti-reflective coating. Operating the watches are both the same. To me, the winding of the 300-1 on the U50 feels much more refined than the 200-1 in the U1. Both have hacking, hand winding, and a 12 o'clock quick set date. When it comes to the dial, I loathe negative space. So what I like to do with a watch is move all the hands to the right side of the dial and just see if I'm still comfortable with the design and open space from the indices to the hand stack. And that is why proportion wise, I much prefer the U50. Both have super luminova, and when I tested this in the Lume Flux Challenge, it got a score out of 10 of 7. And that's pretty much the same for the U1. However, I'd say the U50 was a little bit brighter. And if you're a Lume freak, it's the U50 you'd want over the U1. Both watches have 60 click bezels. These bezels are captive, which means they won't pop off the case. Not that I've had a bezel that's ever done that before, but I have heard of stories. I know Kurt Santana gave this a great score last year. Have a listen. Hardly any backplay whatsoever. Interestingly, the U1, have a listen. Slightly higher tinny sound, but the backplay is pretty damn awful. Have a look at this wiggle. So the U50's bezel action is far superior than the U1's.
Hello.
Right, so here they are on my 6.5-inch wrist, and I am quite surprised that I could actually pull the U1 off, you know? If you have under 7-inch wrists, I would 100% go for the U50. But if you have 7.5-inch wrists and higher, well then the U1 is going to fit perfect too. Both watches on Francis & Gay's website are the same price, £2,615. From the proportions to the slimmer movement, it's no wonder why the U50 has taken over the U1 in the most popular diver Sinn produce. But I was very surprised how well the U1 still did look on my wrist. Now, Francis & Gay don't have many of these watches in stock. So if you are on the fence and you're thinking about buying one of these, I would get in contact now. Because if they have to order them in from Sinn, you're talking 6 months waiting. And no one likes that. So here it is, my wife's first impressions of the U1, the legend that is that 1,000 meter diver. Are we ready? Haha. Oh great, a bigger Lego watch. 1 minute you're up, the next minute the wife crashes you down. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this show. You guys are very important to me. And if you do really like it, why not join? Push this button, just right there. Yeah. And if you're new to the Mad Watch Collector channel, why don't you take a look at this one? Oh, this one's a good one. Probably some of my finest work here. Come on, click it. Come on, click it. Click it. Click it!